Hello everyone, hope you enjoyed your break. It is time to resume today's proceedings. Thank you. So next on our agenda is the Campaigning and Influencing Toolkit. And this toolkit explores ways that disabled people can make their voice heard, from talking to the media to influencing Parliament. This toolkit has useful tips for any disabled person or organisation wanting to begin a campaign. Inclusion Scotland's Grania McGinn will present the Campaign and Influencing Toolkit, and she will be joined by Callum Grievers and Mary Ramsey. Who has it? Callum needs his microphone. Grania, do you want me to stay here? Is that one working?
Sorry. Hi. Could someone at Tech please get Callum his lapel microphone? Because he's going to be speaking again. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We'll just all sit here then again. Hi everybody. Thanks for listening to the panel. You've already met me once, but I'll just introduce myself again. I'm Grania. I'm one of our policy and research officers at Inclusion Scotland. I am white. I use a manual wheelchair. I'm in my late 20s and I present roughly as a woman. I'm here to just introduce our new campaigning toolkit, which we created as a basis to allow disabled people and small organisations to run their own campaigns. We're really excited about the toolkit. It includes a lot of things, as Sam has said, about using social media, talking to journalists, influencing at the Scottish Parliament, and we're really excited to see what you might be able to do with the toolkit. We co-produced the toolkit with two amazing campaigners who are with me today, Callum Grievers and Mary Ramsey. They're going to be speaking about their own lived experience of running a campaign and hopefully give you some top tips and advice that might also be included in the campaign toolkit. If you're interested in having a look, you can scan the QR code that's on your table. It's got the title Campaigning Toolkit. And if you are not able to scan a QR code, you can look at the website, which is inclusionscotland.org/news/campaign-toolkit. But it also should just be on our homepage, so hopefully you don't need to have the whole URL. We're having it. Sorry. It's a bit of a wheelchair traffic jam here.
Right.
Do you want to go along a bit, Mary?
Yes.
Sorry about that. You manage okay?
Yeah. This thing does not like her.
We're getting there. Am I in the way? I can move. Perfect. Okay, so Callum's going to speak to us first about his experience campaigning, running a campaign about accessible housing. So if your mic is on and working, I'm going to pass it over to Callum.
Is it on? Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
So introduce myself again.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm Callum. I'm a Edinburgh-based disability consultant, campaigner, speaker, and occasional researcher. I've been involved in work around the disability support at work, disability training. But about my campaign, I started a campaign for an accessible home and independent life. and kind of at the same time raise consciousness of the barriers to able face, not just in housing, but more generally. So I managed to successfully raise £55,000 through my crowdfunding campaign. So the reason behind starting it was I applied for social housing, and at the time, according to a 2017 FOI request, the average waiting time for a salesperson for an accessible council house was 1,000 days at the time. It's just over 3 years. Shortly after I applied, the pandemic started. The council suspended needs assessments, allocations. So realistically, I was looking at 5 years to move out of my parents' home that wasn't accessible, it didn't meet my needs. And additionally, I could not apply for a disabled facilities grant because I signed some paperwork that because I received funding for a bathroom 3 years before that, I was not eligible for about 10 years, according to that paperwork. So basically, I had no options. And basically, I decided to crowdfund a quarter share of our association flat. That would be part privately owned, part social, and fund the adaptations. But at the beginning, I was quite reluctant to ask for donations. I didn't want to detract from the work of activists to change the system. I didn't want to reinforce the idea that disabled people should depend on charity rather than be empowered to exercise their rights under the Convention on the Rights of Disabled People. But I thought, if I balance crowdfunding with raising consciousness of the barriers, systemic and societal, in all aspects of disabled people's lives, and counter ableist attitudes with my lived experience. So I'm doing something that benefits me and my community, so that I'm doing the right thing, or that's how I felt. So the main goals were to raise awareness of the barriers, raise money for my house, and get the government to commit to building more accessible social housing. Because obviously, when we have homes that meet your needs throughout your life, this lowers the social care bill, the bill for disabled facilities grants, the NHS, and obviously, everybody wants to be able to live independently in their own homes well into old age, as long as possible. So obviously, it benefits everyone, because, like I said, we will all become, at least to some extent, disabled when we're older. And yeah, so I started basically, all I did was created a crowdfunding proposal, provided kind of stats on social housing, on the rights being infringed by my situation and the kind of positive impact it would have on my life. I went on social media, followed everyone relevant. They gave me a list of anyone who might be interested in disability, accessibility, social justice, housing, or just celebrities in my local area. I messaged many of them, asking them to share my campaign, using kind of standard messages, but changing them. It actually worked quite effectively. And you know, if someone doesn't share it, big deal. The worst they can say is no. And I also identified news organisations, and I would email them to ask them to cover my campaign. If they didn't answer, I would email again a month later, because most of the time they just get too many requests. They're not deliberately ignoring you. They're just too busy. And over 2 years, I updated the only campaign. I shared my lived experiences as a salesperson, posted about ableism, systemic barriers, I made sure everyone who donated was thanked individually. I took the time to do that. I think that makes a big difference in terms of their willingness to contribute further. And I want everyone to know the positive impact they had on my life. Show my gratitude towards them. So in the end, I exceeded my goal by about 25,000. So it was 35 in total. Successfully found a flat, and it had a huge impact on my life. It even built a huge network behind me for future self-advocacy. And it kind of launched my career as a consultant. So many things came out of it, not just my independence and suitable housing. I did meet with the Scottish Government, but I wasn't exactly successful in changing anything. I went into discussions by myself. I didn't have clear demands, which you really need if you want to secure change. So that's kind of the main lesson I took from that. I didn't really manage burnout effectively. So it's 2 years of being immersed in disability politics. I wore myself out. Needed a break. So in future, I would manage that better. And I also learned about when you interact with the media, they will often misrepresent you in your campaign using the false narratives of charity, inspiration, tragedy, illusion. Because in many ways, they reflect the attitudes of their audience. They don't challenge them. That's not what the media does. So definitely go into media interviews telling them how you want the campaign represented, and don't let them away with harmful narratives, harmful representations. So that's kind of the main thing. Like my advice would be, if you want to start a campaign, pre-plan a lot of it. Make sure you know who you wish to network with. Work on the proposal. Put a lot of work into that. Make sure it's a persuasive argument for your crowdfunder while you're doing it. And yeah, I think just kind of do it incrementally, step by step. It might take time, but with patience and persistence, you can make it work. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that not just incredible? £25,000 in 2 years. Like when
Oh.
you told me that, I was like,
35.
in
It's 25.
25, yeah.
No, 35.
I was like,
25 over.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much, Callum. Yeah, so it just shows you if you start a campaign, you can achieve so much, you can get your goal. Mary is also going to speak about her experience influencing the Scottish Parliament. Mary runs the Scottish Tremor Society and has been campaigning for better treatment for essential tremor for a long time, 10 years. So thanks, Mary.
And before I start, I'd like to thank 4 people that helped me when I was starting the campaign. They are Ethan Young, Stuart Piper, Sally Butcher, and John Beaton. They really did help me at the beginning.
From Inclusion Scotland.
From Inclusion Scotland, yes. And we took the petition to Parliament. Now, I would suggest anybody thinking of putting a petition through Parliament, make sure you have your MSP on board. Because my MSP has been very good. She's stuck with me from day one, and she's still campaigning to get the focused ultrasound. Now, the focused ultrasound will help people with essential tremor. It's being trialled on Parkinson's, and there is a whole host of other neurological conditions it could help with. And over the years, we've gone through, was it 4 or is it 5 health ministers? 4. And we've not got any further, but my colleague in London calls me the Scottish Rottie because I'm like a dog with a bone. If I know I'm right, I will go for the jugular. So I'm not finished with this campaign yet, but anybody, if you do start a petition, 1, have your MSP on board. 2, cultivate a relationship with the press, whether it's STV, BBC, or the newspapers, because you need them on board. And I have to say, STV News have been very good in reporting on what the campaign's doing, and that is down to Nicola McCally and Ian Ramage. Now, definitely get a dialogue going with either the TV or the press, because they can help. Your MSP, I mean, my MSP is an angel, basically, and try and involve as many people as you can. Have meetings over a coffee and a cake. Sit and talk about what you would like to achieve. Try and get other people on board with what you want to do. But I will say, do what I do. Speak from the heart, because that carries a lot more weight than shouting and bawling and effing and blinding at politicians. If they see you're speaking from the heart, that makes them sort of sit and think, well, wait a minute, maybe there's something about this we can do to help. And even try and arrange a cross-party debate. We did right at the beginning have a cross-party debate. But the trick there is to try and get it on a day where you know the MSPs are not either going to be running for lunch or running to other meetings, or hopefully trying to get out the door. The best thing to do is get them in the Parliament, lock the damn doors and keep them in there until they've heard what you want to say. Then you can let them out. But
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Grania. Fantastic work, and thank you to all of our panelists up here today. I'm sure if you have any questions for Grania, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear any stories if you end up using the campaign. Get in touch, the toolkit, obviously. Get in touch, let us know. And I'm sure Mary and Callum would also be open to questions if anyone wants to speak to them afterwards about their experience. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now be going into our breakout sessions. Please don't worry, you don't need to move. Your breakout session will be at your table. If you require any live captioning or BSL interpretations, the turret room is available for that particular group. And there will be members of Inclusion Scotland going around to help facilitate discussions per table. Thank you.